At Ultimate Music Theory, we take complicated concepts and we make it easy and we make it fun. Here you see my students about to perform at the concert hall for the Musicians in the Making program. Now, you've met most of them through this video series. I hope you remember them. In Level 7 begins with completing the Intermediate Rudiments Workbook together with the Level 6 Supplemental Workbook. And once both are completed together, then start Level 7. Now, each UMT workbook has a matching cute little handy answer book that is identical to the workbook, making your teaching life a whole lot easier. And I say that all the time because I am a teacher too. And it's saving you hours of time in marking and more effective time in the classroom, right? Now, you met Quinn in Level 6. He's the young man on the far right, and he's the one with the red hat. And he is going to be with us again today as we work through Level 7. Today's Ultimate Music Theory Hat Tricks, you will learn 3 success tips for teaching Level 7. Why we need them, how to use them, and done-for-you tricks. So if you are ready to get your hat on, you can leave me a little note in the chat and say, I'm ready. I've got my hat and I'm ready. At UMT, we got you covered, and today is about Level 7 and what's new. 3 hat tricks. Hat trick number 1, why count intervals. Hat trick number 2, how to finger play. And hat trick number 3, tell a story. Plus, speaking of stories, a UMTC success story from a very inspiring Ultimate Music Theory certified teacher, Lee Ping Hudson, all the way from Virginia. I can't wait for you to meet her. The Level 7 table of contents itemizes the new concepts that are outlined in the comparison chart. And today you will be introduced to the root quality and functional chord symbols, melody writing with chord and non-chord tones, and Chopin's revolutionary etude. And as an added bonus, each supplemental workbook includes a final theory exam. So here you see Level 7 theory exam is actually followed by a special certificate to recognize your students' successful completion of Level 7. So we've got a great start for our Level 7 today. If you have your Level 7 workbook and answer book handy, you can follow along with the pages that we're covering today. The Level 7 comparison chart actually maps out the RCM level theory concepts with the Level 7 supplemental workbook. So we've made it easy for you. And the supplemental workbook pages are indicated by a star as the new concepts are introduced in the 2016 theory syllabus. Now, we'll look today at the chords, we're looking at melody writing, and we're looking at music history. So let me ask you a question. Are you ready to have some fun? Because learning is all about having fun. So if your answer is yes, and I hope it is, just throw it in the chat box in our webinar today, then let's get our thinking caps on and learn 3 hat tricks for teaching Level 7. The first of the 3 hat tricks for teaching Level 7 is count intervals. Intervals determine everything. They determine melody, direction, they determine harmony, and they determine tonality. Now in Level 7 on page 28, you are learning about triads and the intervals that make up each 3-note chord. So there we go. Follow along with the arrows. To determine the triad type or quality, first count intervals of a third and a fifth above the root. The type quality of the intervals determine the root quality chord symbol as major, minor, augmented, or diminished. Now, using C as our root with different type quality intervals of a third and a fifth above the root, will change the sound of the triad. Does that make sense? Okay, good. I hope that was a yes. Yes. Okay, good. Now, let's listen as Quinn uses the hat trick of intervals to identify chords. He looks happy to be learning, doesn't he? So here's Quinn.
Well, today we are learning the A, the very first hat trick. Sol and Tito are here, and so is Quinn. Hey, Quinn, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Ready to learn the hat trick?
Yeah.
All right, let's check it out. So today we're talking about triads, and we're going to learn our hat trick in a little bit, and that is learning about intervals. So go ahead and play that first triad. Okay, so what kind of a triad is that?
It's a major triad.
Major triad. So let's use our hat trick. Let's use the intervals. What are the intervals that create a major triad?
It's a major third and a perfect fifth.
Excellent. All right, let's check out the next one. Okay, so what kind of triad is that?
A minor triad.
Very good. And what are the intervals that create that minor triad?
A minor third and another perfect fifth.
Okay, can you go ahead and play that a little louder for me, Quinn? Okay, so that's minor. All right, the next one, now we're going to go back and say, what are the intervals? You have a minor third, and this time, what is the interval above that?
A diminished fifth.
Okay.
Yeah.
A diminished fifth. Excellent. And that is now a diminished triad. So if we look at the intervals, we can determine the type of triad. All right, so let's go ahead and do the next one. Go back to major for a minute. Okay, what are the intervals for major?
Major third and perfect fifth.
Okay, and so now in order to create an augmented triad, what are you changing?
I'm making the perfect fifth into an augmented fifth.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Augmented fifth. Ooh, that sounds kind of weird. All right, so now let's do one more major triad. Okay, and in the very last one, we changed from being just a triad, a 3-note triad, to a 4-note chord. What is the note that you're adding out on top of that major triad?
I'm adding B flat.
B flat. Okay, and now that becomes a dominant 7th chord. What are the intervals for that one?
Major third, perfect fifth, and minor seventh.
Minor 7th. Okay, where do you get that B flat from?
Because it's a dominant seventh, C is the dominant of F.
Okay.
And in F major, it has a B flat in it.
Excellent. Good job. All right. So now let's go ahead and write in our root quality chord symbols. All right. So go ahead and play that first one for us. Okay. What is the root quality chord symbol for that one?
It's just C.
Just C. All right. Next one.
This one is C minor.
C minor. Very good. Next one.
C diminished.
C diminished. Now here's a little hat trick for you. When you want to think about what is that symbol, if you look at the word diminished, and how we've spelt it on there is we've actually used little circles for our I dots, didn't we, Quinn?
Yeah.
So that kind of helps you remember diminished. So little circles for diminished sign. Okay, and the next one would be?
Augmented.
Augmented. Now, I like what you came up with here, Quinn. So how do you remember that little plus sign for augmented?
You could use the tall T in augmented.
Excellent. The tall T in augmented. Tall T, that's a good one. And then finally, the dominant 7th. Very good. And that's kind of easy to remember the 7 because it's right in that dominant 7th chord, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great job. So we've got our root quality chord symbols above. We've learned about major, minor, diminished, augmented, and dominant 7th chords. So now we're going to use our hat trick of using intervals to determine our triads and our 4-note chord to go ahead and learn about inversions.